Okay, so now we are going to start some so now we are going to discuss about today development of education. So for the first 60 years of its domination in India, the East India Company, a trading and profit making concern. Okay, so now we are going to discuss this. Okay, so this was the profit making concerns, but minor exception were the Calcutta Madras was established, and Warren Hastings is the study of Muslim law and related subject. The Sanskrit College was established for Johansen Duncan, and Fort William College was Wellesley was training of civil servants of the company in the language and custom and Indians. So the Calcutta, Madras and the Sanskrit College were designed to provide a regular supply of qualified Indian to help the administration of law in the company and court and knowledge of classical language vernacular useful in correspondence with Indian states. So enlightened English India and missionary started exerting pressure on the government to promote the modern secular Western education, and Western education was the remedy for the social, economic and political ill of the country. So missionary thought that modern education would be like okay. So what was there? A humble beginning by Charter Act of 1813. The Charter Act of 1813 incorporated the principle of encouraging learned Indians and promoting knowledge, modern science in the country, and directed to the company to sanction lakh rupees annually for this purpose. And even this petty amount was not made available, so mainly because of the controversy raised on the question of direction that this appenditure should take. So meanwhile efforts were enlightened, and 1817 Calcutta College set up and educated Bengali, imparting the English as education and Western humanitarian and science. So Orientalist and Anglicist controversy within the General Committee on the Public Transaction, the Anglist argued that the government spending on education should be exclusively for the modern study, and literature should be taught to prepare a student to take up jobs. Emphasis should be placed the expansion of traditional Indian learning, and Anglistic divided over the question of medium of instruction, one faction for the English language and medium while the other faction for the Indian language for the purpose. So there was a great deal and confusion over the English and vernacular language. So the famous Lord Macaulay minutes settled the row in the favor of Anglistic, and the limited government resources were to be devoted to teaching of Western science, literature, and Indian learning was inferior to the European learning, which was true as far as physical and social science in the contemporary stage were concerned. So the government soon made English as a medium instructions. A large number of elementary school Indian is in the blood and color, but English in taste, in opinion, in moral, and in intellect, who would as an interpreted between the government and masses. So literature, science reaches the masses, and downward filtration theory, modern idea, and education was desired by the rules, but modern education only helped the process by making the available the basic literature on physical and social science. And nationalists thus simultaneously their capacity to make the social analysis of content and structure. Okay, so the efforts of Thompson was James Thompson, and Lieutenant Governor of NL and NW province, developed a comprehensive scheme: village education, vernacular language, agriculture, menstruation science, and personnel for the newly set up revenue and public work department. Charles Wood prepared dispatch on the education system and considered the Magna Carta of the English education. And it asked the government of India to assumption like downtrodden filtration theory, and it is recommended that the English as the medium of instruction for the higher study and vernaculars, and stress on female and vocational education and teachers. So education imparted in the government institution is system of grant in aid, and university at Calcutta, Bombay and Madras was set up, and Bethune College was the first fruit of powerful movement. Then Council of Education, mostly due to Bethune efforts, girls' school were set up on the sound footing and both under the government grant-in-aid inspection system. Agriculture Institute at Pusa and the Engineering College in Roorkee. Idea of method of wood dispatch, a field of 5 decades, and rapid westernization of education. Educational institution run by Europeans and missionary enterprises. Okay, so Hunter Education Commission was there. It's a primary and secondary education further suffered because the provinces already had limited resources at their disposal. So government appointed a commission under the James Hunter, and its emphasis was the improvement in the primary education, transfer of control by primary to newly set up district municipal boards, recommendation of secondary education, and leading up to university, vocational for commercial career, draw attention female education, and outside presidency town made recommendation. So the next two row rapid growth of expansion secondary college, participation in India, also more teaching come examination of university of Punjab University. So Indian University Act was passed at that time. Educational institution acted as a factory producing political revolutionary. Nationalists accepting the decline in quality but accused the government, and Rayleigh Commission was set up to go into condition and prospect of university in India and to suggest measures for improvement in the constitution and working. And the commission from the reporting on the primary and secondary education, so university were give more attention to study of research. A number of fellow university and their periods were reduced, so fellow were nominated for the government. Now conditions were to be made stricter for the affiliation, and 5 lakh rupee were to be sanctioned per annum for 5 years for improvement higher education. Curzon justified greater control over the university education and to discipline educated toward the loyalty. So government resolution on education was the progressive state of Baroda introduced the compulsory primary education. A national leader urged government to do so for British in its resolution for the education policy. Government refused to take the responsibility but urged provincial government to take early steps. So it's a resolution of the education. So secondary school was to be improved and established in each province. Now Sadler Commission was in 1917 to report